Wednesday, December 14th. You're listening to Weather with Enthusiasm. The weather map is a precious jewel this evening, a weather enthusiast's dream. There's an enormous amount of weather that's going on in this country right now. More significantly, there's a unique synoptic setup which is taking place in the country as a whole. If you look at the Midwest and the East Coast as a whole, it's a unique setup. And if you look at just the Midwest, it's a super unique setup. If you add the East Coast to the Midwest, the East Coast could be included in this a precious jewel. I think it's a rarity, and each system by itself are powerhouse systems, and the tracks they're taking, the amount of time that they're staying in one area, and the enormous impacts that they're having on this country are really it's really remarkable. It really is. And it's only going to get better. It's hard to say that, actually. It's hard to say that it's only going to get better. But the impacts that the synoptic weather setup is going to have, that will increase for next week. Let's just start right away with what's going on right now here in Chicago. Here in Chicago, this might be a city where people might just think right now that everything's normal. It's just raining, that's all. It's just raining. Well, everybody knows that what went on in Spearfish, South Dakota, that wasn't normal earlier today. That's going to be all over the news. The 30 inches of snow, 25 inches of snow over there as of earlier today, 30 inches of snow over other parts of South Dakota. There's a lot going on with the Black Hills over there, with the wind directions. They're causing the heavy snow is continuously fluctuating. It's almost like a lake effect snow event, and I was never aware of this until today. The areas which are receiving precipitation, enhanced precipitation rates, because the city is along an upslope, along a hill where they're getting a wind against the hill, they're receiving heavier precipitation rates. Now, when those winds shift, the heavier precipitation rates then move on to a different city, because there's now a different city that's receiving the effects of that upslope wind. And then there's another city which is receiving a drying effect from a downslope wind. Now, apparently these Black Hills, they're not like the Rocky Mountains, which totally destroy the system. The system continues. No matter where you are, no matter what side of the Black Hills you're on, it's going to be snowing, especially in a system like this. Just the question is it going to be heavy snow or light snow? And places all around you, it's going to be moderate snow. Relatively speaking, you're going to have whatever pace the snow is falling at in the state as a whole, or in that area as a whole, you're going to have an enhanced snowfall area by the Black Hills. You're also going to have a decreased snowfall rate by the Black Hills as well, and that's going to continuously shift sometimes. And today, that's what was happening over there. In Rapid City, for a while, was in the downslope section. We have places which have received 30 inches of snow in South Dakota. We have other areas that got 25 inches. There's more snow on the way. Let's take a step back over here and come back to Chicago. So you have to have an in-depth understanding, perhaps, of the synoptic setup, or just understand what's going on over here to appreciate what is going on over here. Why is Chicago getting precipitation? So here's what happened. We have a low pressure system. It's a Colorado low. Usually those things are, you have a low pressure system that's over in the Pacific Ocean, sometimes 1,000 miles out. It eventually comes onto the coast, and then the system kind of falls apart as it goes over the Rockies. The system redevelops over just what the National Weather Service will always called the lee side of the Rockies. It's just to the east of the Colorado Rockies. The system redevelops, usually in the Colorado area, and then it takes a storm track from there. A lot of times it will go, a Colorado low is pretty common. The alternative is a panhandle hook. Those things tend, at least here in Chicago, those are the storms that bring the heaviest snow to the Chicago area, because those are the ones that collide with the most amounts of Gulf moisture, because it has ample time to collide with the Gulf moisture, because it takes a track like a hook. The storm goes down to Oklahoma, to the Panhandle, Oklahoma and Texas Panhandle. It first takes a dip before it moves north. Usually the Colorado low just moves north or northeast, but a Panhandle hook is it first dips around there, so it spends more time by the Gulf of Mexico. Therefore, there's more moisture. Well, this storm system didn't need to do that to get all of its moisture, because the system is moving so slowly. So we had a Colorado low. The Colorado low moved east, then north, then northeast, then east, different directions, north, a general motion to the northeast. But it's been stuck around South Dakota really all day today, and it remains there. Okay, so what happens in a situation like that is you have a warm front which extends to the southeast of the low pressure system, and you have the Arctic air on the backside. You have the Gulf moisture, so you have this severe weather outbreak that takes place in the southeast section of this whole system. So that's what's been happening. Last night, even as early as Monday already, we had severe weather in the south, but last night we had it in Louisiana, Mississippi. We had portions of Texas and Tennessee, areas like that. Tonight we have it again. We have currently, as I speak, we have a tornado warning in effect for Tallahassee, Florida, and we have other severe thunderstorm warnings. There's currently 32 advisories and warnings in effect, different types of advisories and warnings in effect for this country. It's been pretty stable at 32 for quite a while, and 32 is a lot. That's a lot of advisories. I have seen it more, but 32 is a lot. So we have that low pressure. It's going to produce, we have a blizzard warnings. Blizzard, it comes on the backside. And we had blizzard warnings for places, as pointed out earlier, that got less than 6 inches of snow because of the high wind gusts. There's winter storm warnings. There's winter weather advisories. You have the tornado watches, the warnings, the severe thunderstorm warnings, all that. We also have some blowing snow advisories. A lot of different stuff is happening. Okay, so that's normal. It is more intense than usual, but we've been seeing that over the past probably 10 months already, going back to April, maybe even before. The Dakotas have been getting these Colorado lows that have been dumping 2 feet of snow. It's been a pattern. This is at least the third. We're 3 for 3 over here. It's since April. April we had one. We got another one a month ago, and now we have one again. So these Colorado lows have been producing that. So at this point, it's not really so unusual. It's happened already a few times within the past year. Okay. And then you have the severe weather outbreaks, which everybody's familiar with. That's what goes on in the south central states. The risks have been higher than usual. They have been higher than usual, and the risks are also taking place a few weeks later than usual. To have these high risks already this far into the year makes it even more unusual, but this has also been happening. Tornado Alley has been moving east over the past 30 years. The number of tornadoes has gone down in the plains and has gone up over in the south central states. So we now have Tornado Alley. It does not include St. Louis yet, but it's getting close. It does include Memphis, Tennessee right now. It never used to include Memphis, Tennessee, but it no longer includes many places in Oklahoma. Briefly, I'll say that there's a drought, the tremendous drought in the desert Southwest. So climatologists believe that the lack of moisture over there is affecting the tornado development in the plains. There's not enough moisture, so the tornadoes develop a little bit further east. Okay, so that could be an explanation. Anyways, so we have all that going on, and we hear about that, and Okay, then what usually happens is you have a secondary area of low pressure, which develops off in the mid-Atlantic area, usually off the coast of North Carolina. That's also happening. Okay, fine. That's also going to be a tremendous storm. That's going to be a tremendous storm. That's also going to produce nothing historical. There's nothing historical being forecasted right now for the East Coast that I'm aware of. It is going to be a classic nor'easter. It's going to be a nor'easter. Classic or not, it's a nor'easter. It's going to produce heavy rain for the East Coast, more than an inch, maybe even 2 inches for the East Coast. And then on the back side, that precipitation will be falling as snow. So locations we'll see, usually you get 1 to 2 feet for the East Coast in these types of situations. But in this case, those numbers might be you might have a county or two that gets that amount. But some of it, there's not enough cold air at this point. So